Hello Bitsbrood! Here we are back with another edition of White Dwarf. We are here with issue 456 and on the front you've got Space Marines fighting chaos and on the back as well. It's a really cool image. Yeah, let's get right into it. So the era Indomitus, so it's all about the new-ish box that was released not too long ago. I reckon this was meant to come out when that came out, so I think that this was meant to go alongside it. So let's just get right in. We are looking at some models that people have sent in. Yeah, really cool idea here about someone who's created their own Stormcast Stormhost. Yeah, it's looking really good. Some really creative ideas. Oh, and down here, I wanted to mention this, when I looked through it the first time, someone's shared their little doodle of a noxious Blightbringer. Looking really cool. And of course, onto the model of the month. This month's model is a L'Oreal the Everqueen. A really good take on her model. Craig's got one painted up here and it's got to be one of my favourite models in the studio actually, so yeah, you can check that on our Instagram page. And in the spotlight, Damien Tomasina. He is a Golden Demon winning painter. And when he's not entering competitions, he's painting new armies like the Sisters of Battle Force, so he's showing his whole army there. So it's really easy to pick a colour scheme because he wanted to paint it something bright and shiny in spite of the fact they're wearing black armour. So got the red standing out there too. And onto Worlds of Warhammer. Looking a little bit more into the fantasy geography and background. A little bit about where things are arranged in that, and having a little bit more of a look into the actual worlds of Warhammer. Onto Warhammer 40,000. So this is obviously the bit where we dive into a little bit more on the Indomitus. You've got Necrons and Space Marines. So let's have a look a little bit further into this. They're going into sort of what the differences are in this Indomitus box. A bit more detail on all of these Primaris, and moving on to the Necrons. Some really creative models in this set actually. Where are they? Here. I really like the little scarab swarms. Craig's painted some of them up with one of the iridescent paints that GW brought out as well, and that's looking awesome. And moving on to the paint splatter. So showing a little bit more about how they paint these Necron warriors. But battle ready and parade ready standards. This is one of my favourite sections in this magazine, and I've said that before. So you'll probably know that already, but yeah, I just find it interesting to see how they layer up paints, and as a beginner, I'm still going to call myself a beginner even though I've been doing it for a year. I'm still a beginner, definitely still a beginner, and learning about how you layer up all these paints, so I find that really fascinating. And onto Echoes from the Warp. A little bit more on Robin, talking about the latest edition of Warhammer 40k, so obviously talking about everything to do with 9th edition and what the differences are. They tried to make some of it back compatible. It's quite an interesting segment actually. and onto the battle report, which is between the whole Indomitus set basically. So I'm just going to skip through that so that I don't spoil it for you. Whoa. Try not show you the scores there. There we go, okay. Onto Echoes from the Writers. So talking about the cornerstone of the game setting and background, Andy Clark is going to discuss a bit more on the lore behind that. And some more fiction if you are into fiction. Bladeguard. A little bit more on that. And Battles of Pariah Nexus. So quite a bit of fiction in this edition. A lot of it is based around Space Marines and onto Realms of Battle. The Ultramarines have deployed to a world of Verticus 2, the most recent planet to fall silent. So, looking a little bit more about, obviously, the Necrons and the Space Marines, and a massive big display and diorama of all of the Necrons and Space Marines there. It's got 2 stories. It's pretty epic, to be honest. I think there's, and it's further on, there's another picture. So that's what him in the making of it, basically. I really like the sort of carts and stuff. That's a pretty cool idea. This is a bit that I really like. I think it's just really effective as a diorama. Yeah, got more of my favourite little scarabs there. And onto Index Astartes. So, the Silver Templars, and obviously the Silver Templars are the White Dwarf chapter. Talking about all about the Silver Templars and Index Astartes section. And a bit more in depth about the background of that. And this is basically a battle log of all the battles the Silver Templars have amassed in this impressive battle record, and it's pretty cool. I like having a little sort of summary of the background of them if you don't have the time to look through everything. It's interesting to see, and of course new rules, and you got Codex, Supplement, Relics, Warlord Traits and Stratagems, and some more on the Silver Templars. So yeah, a lot about Space Marines in this issue, as I mentioned. I really am a fan of these paint splatters, and yeah, it's quite interesting to see the difference even between just like a few differences between Battle Ready and Parade Ready makes it just pop so much more. And a bit more on the index gallery. So this is a gallery of miniatures painted by readers and studio staff. Looking awesome. I know from experience that tank, it's very good. And a little bit more on readers' models. This is Chris Kelly, who sent in pictures of his Silver Templars. And onto Age of Sigmar. So we're looking at rules of engagement. Jarvis Johnson is talking about... he's actually given up his throne of power to let Luis Aguilar talk about his gaming aids. So this is quite interesting. I did have a little read on the dice rolls one, because that's a way to speed up games if you want to get the dice rolling done a bit quicker. This is something that actually I really like. We generally write stuff down that we think we'll use in battle anyway, but we just write it down on a pad of paper. But it's useful to have it so that you can see what can be used each phase as well. So it's called a cheat sheet. It's not really cheating, but onto Warcry. New rules. So looking at the Cities of Sigmar warband in Warcry. So there's absolutely loads of new rules here. Yeah, on this page you can see most of them. And a bit more on sort of deployment and that sort of thing. And a tale of 4 warbands. So 4 warlords have been making a name for themselves in CARNGRAD as their warbands strive to complete their missions. Archaons and Emissaries watch their every move. Perhaps one of these warlords could serve the Everchosen in a greater capacity. And looking at the Jade Eye, the Joyous Amputation, and the Penumbral Hunters. Some brilliantly painted armies, as always. And some really well painted terrain as well. I mean, that, ooh, just incredible. Really, really cool. I just love the trees. And moving on to, oh, this is an interesting new section, the model photography. And obviously this is going to help you if you ever want to submit your own models to White Dwarf. You might want to have a look at how to light them, even with, it seems like sort of a simple setup. So yeah, we use a light box in the studio, but lamps work as well, and showing how you can sort of diffuse them, make them not have a shadow. Finding the right angle, what's the best angle to take. Obviously, you know, you want to see sort of what's on top here as well. So it's interesting. I like photography, so it's good to show how they take pictures of their models. A little insight into what they do in the studio, I guess. And on your phone as well. So you don't actually need a proper camera, a camera to take photos. You can do it on your phone as well. Glory points. Onto Dave Sanders. Looking at all of this Beastgrave, Warhammer Underworlds, and onto Black Library Fiction. So this is a new genre of literature to the ever-growing repertoire, Warhammer crime. It's quite an interesting idea. So if you're into your fiction, there's a lot to get into. A bit more fiction there. And I think, oh, that's the next few pages. And finally onto inside the studio, having a look at everyone painting their models. This issue, Literary Heroes, a Tainted Ambot, a new starter, and some big green monsters. So let's have a little look. Oh, okay, so there's the monsters. Thunder lizards. Cool. Looking really good. So yeah, next month, not too long to wait. We are getting it monthly now, so very exciting. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and drop us a comment. Bye.